if you are on the lookout for a new career, and if you are looking at some companies where you might be interested in starting a new career, I think you should look at companies that don't have too much debt. If it's possible for you to find out, companies maybe, if it's a listed company on the JSE, that information is publicly available. And with Google today, you can find out anything. So if you are looking at companies in the listed environment that's listed on the JSE, you can find this out. And then also companies that adapted quickly, and companies that uses technology and understand that it's essential. Those companies will definitely be able to survive. So if you are in an industry where you have where the use of technology, if you can apply that, because everybody wants people who understand technology. Even if you are a secretary, doesn't matter what kind of job you do, if you also have technical skills with regard to computer systems or anything computer-wise, I think it will be easier for you to find a job if you put this on your CV. And if I had to employ somebody, that would definitely be a selling point for me. Doesn't matter what they do in my office, if they they are quite adaptable and they understand technology and computers and internet and things like that, I think that will definitely put you in a position to be more, competitive and finding a job and better payment. So if you want to find a company that has also invested a lot in digital information, maybe that are on top of technology even before the COVID, they are in a much better position. Because remember, a company, let me give you a stupid example. I know somebody that works for an international property company, but because property is also a sector, commercial property, and that with commercial property, I mean office buildings, shopping centers, things like that, those companies are also highly affected by COVID. Because people don't want to rent more space, they want to rent less, because they might not stop renting office space, but they might rent less than they did in the past, as some of the people will be working from home, maybe permanently. But I've spoken to a person that works in this industry, in the property industry, and they are not receiving any bonuses this year. So, you have to remember that if you are in a shrinking industry, that you will probably not get a very good paycheck, or you might not get a bonus. So if you want to look at companies where you want to work and find a job, rather go maybe for technology, some people that uses technologies. Another industry that I think will thrive going forward is the logistics and transport industry, because it doesn't matter what happens, if you buy things online or whether you go to the shop, retail, product still has to be delivered somewhere, and it has to be distributed throughout South Africa or the rest of Africa. So those companies are also doing very well. The figures that I've seen is that they are definitely, going from strength to strength. And that's also an industry that didn't shrink at all. They had a little bit of a dip in their turnovers in the first months, but now they are back to normal again. So I think that's an industry as opportunity. But remember, it doesn't matter where you are in which industry, you continuously have to innovate. And that is required. Otherwise, you will not be able to keep up. And then I think another kind of industry that will probably offer opportunity is anything that can set up a person to work from home, anything like in solar energy, battery systems, internet, the provisions of internet. So even if you are in a position, the internet is such a wonderful thing. You should never underestimate what you can find there if you start with Google. I mean, I thought to myself while I was busy reading through some things today, I realized that a person who can find a way of monitoring and motivating people working from home, maybe find an app that can do that, or because I think these are things that companies will have to do going forward. Measuring, they must have measuring tools for their personnel working from home. So maybe an app or whatever, something like that will also be, I think there will be an opportunity for some entrepreneur to start a business like that, where companies maybe can affiliate, and he can, or that company can monitor the people working from home. Because I saw with one of my personnel writing an exam recently that they do monitor your eyes and your movements while you are busy writing your exam. So say, for instance, you can start a company that monitors people working from home. How much time they spend in front of the computer with their eyes open and not sleeping, for instance, or walking around. Things like that. I think a lot of opportunities are out there for entrepreneurs, for people trying to find a work. I mean, if I was young today and I had to go and study next year, I would definitely not study anything else but something to do with information technology and innovation. Because I mean, that is where the world is going. That is where everything is moving. If you're not in those industries, you will struggle. And even if you have any other skills, sharpen up your technology skills. I think that will definitely help you in your career going forward.
Which sectors got the most advantage because of COVID, if you can say something like that? What I mean by that, there are sectors that got some wind because of COVID and will be here for a long time still because of what happened.
Yes, so a lot of companies in the healthcare sector were very fortunate to sell the right products. If you look at a company like, say, for instance, Deschem, that sells a lot of healthcare products, sanitizers, vitamins, all those things that everybody suddenly started using. So their turnover is up significantly. A company like that, for instance, anybody that sells anything in that industry. I heard from people, scientists, people busy in any kind of work that has to do with medicine or vitamins, or another guy that I spoke to, a farmer who farms ginger. He did extremely well. He had record profits last year because the price of ginger had doubled. So some specific industries really, really profited from the COVID. I think the logistics companies, people in transport, definitely the IT companies, anything that has to do with information technology. I saw a small listed company on the JSE this week, even reporting they were struggling a lot over the past few years, and I see that they have doubled their profits in the last year. So even those struggling IT companies are starting to do very well because they were the beneficiaries of this pandemic. And then, of course, like I said, agricultural initially didn't do very well, but I think they have also been a huge beneficiary of the pandemic.
Amelia Morgenrood of PSG Wealth, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Only a pleasure.